Hey guys, so I want to have a conversation really quick about feelings of gender, related conversations to gender identity, okay? And this is coming into topic because something specifically I'm doing at the minute, and we'll get into that. But, so, people have asked me, before, what my gender identity is all the time, and I feel somewhat affirmed in that, but sometimes I feel like there's not enough nuance. What am I trying to say? It's like, there's not, to say that I identify as male, I guess would be accurate. I just kind of associate having a penis to being male. And I know that sort of, cognitive resonance isn't, present in all people. And I don't think the possession of a penis makes you male. It's just, for me, having a penis makes me feel male, and I coincide with the biological sex that I've been, assigned in a certain way. However, there is nuance there that I think is worth discussing. However, I definitely feel like a lot of me belongs to the feminine energy, and then a lot of me belongs to the masculine energy. And that feeling of people belong to feminine and masculine, people often, I think, associate with female and male. My outlook on it is that I don't necessarily believe that masculinity belongs to men and femininity belongs to women. But I suppose in a general sense, when people talk about, when people who are gender fluid or non-binary explain how they don't exactly feel at home in the masculine confines of one gender or the feminine confines of another, I definitely do feel like I relate to that. So I guess by some textbook definition, I would say I, at the very least, very much resonate with the feelings of someone who is gender fluid. Because the way I look at it is, I wish that I had the power to shapeshift between both genders and or both aesthetics whenever I pleased. Because there are days where I wake up and I'm like, I enjoy wearing, embracing my more masculine features, let's say. I like wearing my big leather jacket that accentuates the shoulders, my baggy leather jeans, looking a little bit more on the blokish side, kind of embracing, the boyishness of my mullet. I get my stash and my eyebrows, done to, kind of have that sort of darker, more defined feature that I think in my mind, maybe I associate with masculinity in a sort of way. But then there are days where I wish that I could go back to how I used to look, where I had long hair with bangs and I had no, mustache at all, and I would wear, mini dresses out to the clubs and heels and all that kind of stuff. I was, I was a pretty prominent cross-dresser for a lot of my teen years. And even before my teen years, I still used to. I mean, I was even diagnosed with gender dysphoria by a psychologist growing up and was given the option to transition. And I decided not to because it didn't feel like the right move at the time. But sometimes I'd be lying if I said I looked back at that and I didn't wonder what things would be like if I hadn't made that decision. And I think there is a different, I think that a lot of people think about decisions that they make and go, what would have happened if I chose that differently? But I feel like with the amount of times I do consider it, so I think there's a little bit of dissonance in my brain surrounding the decision that I made. And it's not entirely dissonant. I like who I've become, and I think that if I didn't not go through with that at the time, I wouldn't be the person that I am now. But I also would be, remiss to say that, I am curious about what my life would have been if I'd transitioned pre-puberty. Not sure. Anyway. The reason that this has come up is because I've been almost running an experiment to see if my basis of the feelings of my gender center from a place of sexuality. Because sometimes because I'm thinking do I really associate with the opposite gender in that way, or do I maybe envy the way that the opposite gender is sexualized? You know? Because I enjoy parts of, like, you know, a man-on-man relationship, or, I don't know, the things that have to do with that. Like, I don't know, like, I can't really figure out, like, what it is, but, like, there's a way that, like, the pursuit, when you are someone who cross-dresses and represents... Hold on, just one second. But yeah. But there is a part of, like, when I'm cross-dressing and you're pursued by someone in this almost, like, not fantasy, but almost, like, dynamic where you are treated as, like, the delicate, frail, like, female by someone. There's something, at least in my mind, that I do enjoy about that. But it's like, do I feel like that has to be present? Do I have to be presenting female for that to be present? That's the question. So I've been just running a little Grindr type experiment, if you will. So I made an alternative profile on Grindr that is kind of more fixated on my cross-dressing side and more feminine side, and kind of giving voice and giving almost attention to the part of my brain that feels like it belongs to that feminine world. And then I have my profile that's, you know, just me as I know it to be in my day in, day out life that is usually tended to. But there is this, you know, part of me that really associated with the female aesthetic that I was for many, many years. And I lost contact of sorts with that part of myself. So I'm giving some attention to it at this point. Did you catch that thunder? I'm giving some attention to it to, like, I don't know, to see if my hyperfixation on the feminine aesthetic comes purely from a place of, like, sexual fantasy, or does it come from a place of true identity? But I suppose that's what I'm just trying to find out. But we're experimenting a little bit. But it is interesting what I'm noticing, the way already I've only had, like, this new profile up for, like, an hour. It's crazy the difference in the way that people speak to you. So obviously I will never understand what it's like to be truly female. Truly, societally, biologically, anything like that. But it is interesting that when you present female in a certain way, or present feminine in that sort of way, that you start to understand or you start to experience a little bit, like, the way that men approach females, and the way that I don't know, the different way, like, the different shape a man's mind takes when he feels like he's pursuing that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to give an update, talk about that, because I feel like there's been a couple of times where I've, like, said that I wanted to talk about my gender identity and my conflict within it, and I have just wanted to take this time to, like, actually talk about it. Just haven't gotten around to it yet, but thank you for listening.